Grand Rising, peace, love, harmony, and light. This is Chief Kalanago with another build. Brothers and sisters, I don't even know how to stress how important this is. This is urgent. And a lot of us are not moving with that urgency, and it bothers me. Like I told y'all before, I don't sleep, I rest. And the reason why I don't sleep is because sleep just seems so permanent. However, I rest, meaning that I'm just taking a nap because I got work to do. And too many of you guys are asleep. Remember, words have power, and there's power of life and death within your tongue. So whatever you put out there into the universe, that's what's going to happen. So don't fall asleep. Okay? Take a nap, take a rest, because we have work to do. And lately, of course, I've been putting in a lot of work, and my spirit is heavy. There is a burden that's on my spirit right now. And I believe that, in fact, not believe, I know a lot of American Aboriginals are going to fall for this plan that's being devised by the American Colonization Society. A lot of people don't know what's going on, but I'm here to tell you that I'm here to expose all these lies to you because I feel it's my duty. I'm always asking my ancestors to use me as a vessel, and they give me information and they bring things to me that's troublesome to them so that I could express it to you. Okay? And within the past few years, there has been a heavy push, especially in 2018. There has been a heavy push, okay, promoting the coming back home of Africans, from the diaspora. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that if Africa wants their children to come home. But you see, they are crossing lines when they are telling African Americans, come to Africa because that's your home. My brothers and sisters, do not fall for that trick. Okay? You have to think for yourself and open up your minds. And really, I really want you to first, not just overstand the information, get under it. Okay? Not that it's beneath you, but get under it. Decipher it. Okay? Open up your minds. Allow the Most High, allow the ancestors to guide you through this, because I'm telling you, a lot of y'all are going to perish. They are setting y'all up to be slaves in a land that your ancestors are foreign to. Our ancestors are not Africans. Okay? This is a plan by the American Colonization Society. They want to get rid of us. My brothers and sisters, the purge, you see, everything is working coherently. Okay? There are no accident. There is no surprise that they gave you the movie Black Panther. Why do you think it's the highest gross movie? Okay? Let me see if I could quickly do, a little search on the Black Panther movie. And you see, that's what's being promoted because they're giving you the narrative. Oh, yes, this is great, Africa. And I'm not saying that Africa is not great for Africans. I'm not saying that. So please do not misconstrue my words. However, Africa is great for Africans, but Africa is not great for American Aborigines. This is not us. This is not our land. It's like taking trees that are indigenous to the Americas and expecting them to flourish in Africa. Okay? No, the conditions have to be changed for years and years and years, and still it wouldn't be as organic as it was, or as it was meant to be when it's in its natural state. Okay? Meaning that where it belongs, where it's indigenous to. And Africa is not our home. And by them forcing and pushing the narrative that we are Africans and we have to come home to Africa, you are setting yourself up to be slaves and to be put in slums of Africa. Now, I want you to open up your mind. The Black Panther movie. Let me just go to Google real quick. The Black Panther movie. Okay? Because This here is serious, and people think it's a joke. The colonizers are working extremely hard. Okay? They are working extremely hard. Okay? This is still colonization. I'm trying to see. Look at this here. Black Panther box office gross 1.344 billion US dollars in 2018. My brothers and sisters, wake the fuck up, man. I know it's early, and I'm not gonna apologize for it's not profanity, it's not a curse. Okay, that's how I'm expressing myself. That's what the Spirit is giving me to express myself at this early rise of the sun today. Okay, and pardon me for saying mourning, but you know what? I am mourning right now. So I did say it in the correct content or in the correct context. I am moaning. I am crying. My heart is bleeding for my people because we are being lied to. I'm not falling for the lies. I'm not falling for the propaganda, but many of y'all are. Okay, and you are supporting your own destruction. You are supporting your own fall. You are supporting the lies. Black Panther box office 1.344 billion US dollars. How many of that money came back into our society to build us? No. You know what they're using it for? The American Colonization Society is using that money to take American Aboriginals and promote, okay, the narrative that we are Africans and they're going to send you back to Africa. But Wakanda is the illusion, brothers and sisters. Okay? They are even building villages in Zambia, if I'm not mistaken, where the president gave them permission. They gave them about 132 acres to build the first Wakanda, so they could take your lost, confused ass to Africa. But when you think you're going to get Wakanda, you are going to get slums, and you are going to be enslaved. And you have to think of it from that perspective. Okay? The indigenous Africans are suffering down there. Okay? They are suffering. The colonizers are destroying them, taking their land. China is taking over Africa. African women, Chinese men are going to Africa, impregnating African women, mixing their bloodline to take over that land. The new form of colonization. But now it's being done by Chinese. It's being done in Jamaica as well by Chinese. My people, wake up. And don't just wake up, but let us stand up and fight. Okay? Let us stand up and fight. Why would we want to leave our land, our beautiful America, and go to Africa, where the government of Zambia is going to give you 132 acres to build a Wakanda, when we have our own? When we have families right here alone. I know one family alone in Kentucky that have 700 acres of land, and it has always been in their family. My brothers and sisters, you know, our ancestors are hurting right now. Yes, they are rejoicing because 1, 2, 3, a few of us are putting in this extreme hard work. I know for me, I could only speak for myself. But the majority of y'all, okay, are going to fall for that trick. And you're going to go to Africa and you're going to be imprisoned. Okay? You're going to become slaves. Right here in our own land, they have made us voluntary slaves. But just imagine you going to a foreign land where the indigenous people are suffering. They are starving. But they want to bring other people from another land who are not indigenous to that land. What do you think is going to happen? Isn't it bad enough amongst ourselves right here in our own land? We have the crab in the barrel mentality. We are fighting each other for survival. Just imagine you going into another land that you don't know. Our ancestors have never been to. The language is different. The culture is different. The food is different. The ideologies is different. The mannerisms are different. And they want you to go there What do you think these people, how do you think they're going to feel about you? Do you think they're going to say, oh, welcome my brother, welcome home, my sister? No, they're not going to, because they know you're not Africans. They know that. But you see, that's what's being pushed right now. And I guarantee you, Hollywood is going to pick it up, because they already have. They have already set up the precedents. Black Panther. Let us give them the illusion. Wakanda. You know, come home, my African brothers and sisters. Hollywood is demonic. Y'all keep supporting these people, idolizing these so-called celebrities, having false gods, because they have become your gods. Okay? The news channel is going to start pushing it. The talk shows are going to start pushing it. Now you're going to see lost American Aboriginals walking around with dashikis. Oh, we are going back to Africa. Let's be proud. But when they see me with my feathers, they look at me like I'm crazy. But you know what? Let them continue to think I'm crazy. If I'm the only man that's going to stand up and fight in the honor of my ancestors, then you know what? I'm ready to stand up and take my death immediately, because guess what? I'm not going to Africa. I'm not leaving my motherland. Okay? I'm not going to desert my ancestors. So if it's me against them alone, and I have to stand up in front of 200 tanks, or one single drone, or one single sniper, that they're going to take me out, then you know what? I'm going to let them take me out with my head standing high, shouting out loud that I'm proud to be an American Indian. I am proud to be an American Aboriginal, and you're not going to take me out of my land. I am ready to face my physical demise, because there's no such thing as death. So I'm going to be all right. Brothers and sisters, do not fall for the trick. And for all the Sinettas, all the Umar Johnsons, all the Pharaohs, and all those who are pushing the narrative that we are black and African American, here's your perfect chance. Take your ass back to Africa if that's where you belong. Stop lying to our people. Okay? They are literally setting up and giving you passports and giving you dual citizenship. Yes, that's right. So Sinetta, this is your perfect chance to go back to Africa. Okay? And your platform and all you Pan-Africanists. You don't have to stay here no more and lie to our people and confuse them. Go back home. Go back to Africa. Because when the time comes, you know your ass ain't going nowhere. Nowhere at all. But the truth will come to light. It is no coincidence that all this is happening. All of a sudden in 2018, this big push on all over Africa for them to, and they're focusing on African Americans. That's what they're focusing on, because you see, they always like to take our best to go build their worst. It has always happened. Okay, it happens in the 1600s, the 1700s, and the 1800s. Where they are taking our best to go build their worst. And then they treat them like animals. But here I am. Go on my channel, the new channel. If you missed the live, that Free Negroes, a very powerful video, a couple of them that I did. Go subscribe to the channel. Do not fall for that trick. And I'm going to read to you a little bit, even if I've been over it on the live video, but because on this channel I can't do live, so y'all need to go to the other channel and subscribe. Brothers and sisters, we got work to do, and they have people in place. Even the African Union, I think the ambassador, she's pushing for so-called African Americans to come to Africa, but nobody's standing up for the American Aboriginals. Okay, I know I am, and I'm asking you guys to stand with me. Stand with me, because we need to make some moves, man. This is not a game. It is not a game. Y'all think it's a joke. Your children, your elders are going to be taken, but it's going to be voluntary, because now they're going to give you the initiative. Oh, if you want to go back to Africa where you came from, here's $10,000. We're going to give you a free passport. This is still colonization taking its place and still playing its role in 2018. But you see, because of technology, because the way the world is today, they cannot come and round you up with guns, because you know what? The world is not going to stand for that. So they have to entice you. All right? They have to, they have to romanticize you. That's what they are doing. And niggas, you could buy them for anything. And guess what? I'm not gonna apologize for saying that, because that's what niggas do. You see, I'm not a nigga. And even yesterday, when I'm walking down in Church Avenue in Brooklyn, I see it. They have these little stands and these little trinkets and, oh, come get this for free as long as you sign up for this. And you should see the line. And I'm passing, oh, brother. I say, listen, I'm not your brother, man. Because y'all out here selling old people out. And that's what niggas do. You feel me? I am one warrior that's going to stand up for my ancestors. And I'm not going to stand for this bullshit, man. So like I said, if it's just me alone, then guess what? I'm going to stand up me alone. For real. Because everybody's talking. I'm not just about talking. I'm doing. And I'm going to read to you a little bit, because I did a full, explanation and in detail video on the next channel. Okay, so I'll put the first link in that beneath this video is for the next channel. Go check it out. It was a great build. A couple of them, actually. Go subscribe to the channel. Let's do this. All right. So now here we are. And I'm going to put these articles that I'm from today in the link below as well. So go check it out. Maps of Liberia, 1830 to 1870, 1820 to 1847, from the colony to a republic. All right. Timeline. The American Colonization Society sent its first group of immigrants to Sherbro Island in Sierra Leone. The island's swampy, unhealthy conditions resulted in a high death rate among the settlers as well as the society's representatives. You see, they're not telling you the truth. When they send American Aboriginals to Africa, they're not sending you to their best land. They're not sending you to the most fertile soil. No, that's for Africans. Because you see, they have their own indigenous people in those dirty and unhealthy conditions. What make you think you a foreigner? They know your ancestors are African. They're going to give you fertile soil. No, they're going to put you in the swamps. But they're going to give you the narrative of Wakanda. And that's what they're going to push it. You see, everything is a plan. You have to really get it that these people are playing chess. And in chess, there are infinite ways of winning. When you think you are winning, it's actually a loss. And when you think you're losing, it's actually a win. Because everything is disguised, all these different moves. But you're here playing chess. You're here playing checkers, pardon me, while they're playing chess. And the American Colonization Society, they gave you Black Panther. Let us make them be proud to be Africans. So now it's in their mind. The brainwashing is continuing. All right. The American Teachers Association created the term African American in the 1960s. That's where it all started. Then they started giving you the Afro-American. Okay. Then they gave you roots. That your roots, remember, no tree could never exist without its roots. The roots is the strongest part of the tree. So now if they could take your American Aboriginal roots and place it in Africa, then you are a fallen people. So look at what happened to us. We think we're from Africa and abandon our ancestors in the Americas, and we're not, because remember, you have to honor your mother and father so that your days could be longer. So we're here honoring African ancestors when we're not Africans, abandoning our American ancestors. So they're still pushing it, convincing you that you're African. As a matter of fact, let us build a Wakanda, 5 Wakandas in Africa, and bring them home. But y'all are going to leave the ghettos of America and go into the ghettos of Africa and be enslaved. Mark my words. Mark my words. And that is the only true, transatlantic slave trade that will exist, because it didn't happen. However, the American Indian slave trade has always been profitable. And even today, they are planning to make it happen again. My brothers and sisters, hearken to my words. Okay? Hearken to my words. Talk to your family. Share these videos. Call out all these people on YouTube, the networks, on radio who are calling you Black and African American. Put pressure on them. Call them sellouts. Call them agents. Call them out so that our people could know what's going on. All right? What I'm reading from right now is actually, on www.lock.gov collections. Okay? That is from their own sites. The American Colonization Society sent its first group of immigrants to Chebro Island in Sierra Leone. The island's swampy, unhealthy conditions resulted in a high death rate among the settlers as well as the society's representatives. The British governor allowed the immigrants to relocate to a safer area temporarily while the American Colonization Society worked to save its colonization project from complete disaster. A project. You see, they were part of a project. Aren't many of us in the hood live in the projects? Well, I don't, but I'm just saying. My brothers and sisters, it's a project. And a lot of you Negroes and so-called black people and African American and niggers will get up and take that $10,000, take that $5,000, take that $15,000, even 20 to relocate into Africa. And when you think you are going to experience heaven, you think you're living in hell right now, your hell is awaiting you. Okay? And am I telling you this to put fear in you? Yes. I want you to be afraid. That is the first time I'm pushing fear, because it's real this time. Okay? It's real this time. It says, see African American Mosaic, Personal Stories and ACS New Directions. See African American Mosaic, Personal Stories and ACS New Directions. The American Colonization Society, ACS, dispatched a representative, Dr. Eli Ayers, to purchase land farther north of the coast of Sierra Leone. With the aid of the U.S. naval officer Lieutenant Robert F. Stockton, Ayers cruised the coastal waters west of Grand Bassa, seeking out appropriate lands for the colony. Stockton took charge of the negotiations with leaders of the Day and Bassa peoples who lived in the area of Cape Mozarudo. At first, the local leaders were reluctant to surrender their people's land to strangers, but were forcefully persuaded. You hear that? At first, the leaders were reluctant to surrender their land to strangers. My brothers and sisters, we are strangers in Africa. We are not Africans, and they know this. But they were forcefully persuaded. You know who persuaded them? The American Colonization Society. They say, listen, we know they are not Africans. We know they are strangers. But y'all niggas are going to take them because we want them there. Okay? Some accounts may at gunpoint to part with 36-mile long and 3-mile wide strip of coastal land for trade goods, supplies, weapons, rum worth approximately $300. So they persuaded them by gunpoint to create the colony of Liberia and Sierra Leone, to send free Negroes. Go look at the video on my next channel. The link is below. Go subscribe and look at, brothers and sisters. I cannot stress this enough. I don't know what else y'all want me to do. I am doing my part. Okay? But moving forward in 2018, they're not going to put a gun to their head. You know why? Because the American Colonization Society is working with the African governments. Okay? South Africa, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Zambia. They are working with them. They are paying them heftily sums of money to take your ass to Africa, to promote this Wakanda, to promote that you are Africans. They are paying them. You know why? Because they are still pushing America as the new world. And new world meaning that we want to take over this shit. My brothers and sisters, man, the 4th annual report of the American Society for Colonizing the Free People of Color of the United States. You hear that? The 4th annual report of the American Society for Colonizing the Free People of Color of the United States. Let me ask you a question. If we were free people already, why do you believe the narrative that we came here on slave ships? But because they were colonizing our land and we were putting up a fight, and they said, okay, you know, here's a deal. We're going to give you guys a whole new beginning in Africa, your own colony. We're going to give you money. We're going to support it. But when our people went there, it wasn't that way. They were in swamps. Okay, they went bankrupt. And the indigenous people were even fighting them. Like, hey, niggas, y'all ain't from here. Go back to where you came from. Okay? All right. You have been warned. April 25th, the survivors of the Shibro Island arrived at Cape Mazorado and began to build their settlement. With the wavering consent of the new immigrants, the American Colonization Society government governed the colony through its representative. In time, however, some colonists objected strenuously to the authoritarian politics instituted by the Jehudi Ashnan, a Methodist missionary who replaced Ayres as the ACS governing representative. Such disagreements created tensions within the struggling settlement. 1824. Believing that the colonist agent, pardon me for a second, you know, I be getting so emotional, man. My sinuses are running. Believing that the colonial agent had allocated town lots and ration provisions of unfairly, a few of the settlers armed themselves and forced the society's representatives to flee the colony. The disagreements were resolved temporarily when an ACS representative came to investigate the colony's problems and persuaded Ashman to return. Steps were initiated to spell out a system of local administration and to codify the laws. This resulted a year later in the Constitution, Government, and Digest of the Laws of Liberia. In this document, sovereign power continued to rest with the ACS's agent, but the colony was to operate under common law. Slavery and participation in the slave trade were forbidden. The settlement that had been called Christopolis was renamed Monrovia after the American president James Monroe, and the colony as a whole was formerly called Liberia. Christopolis was renamed Monrovia after President James Monroe, and the colony was formerly called Liberia, the free land. 1827. Slave states in North America, increasingly interested in getting rid of their free African American populations, encouraged the formation of colonization societies. My brothers and sisters, we didn't come here on slave ships. Yes, they enslaved us in our own land. All right? It says in 1827, slave states in North America increasingly interested in getting rid of their free African American population. You were already free, but the free people were causing a problem for the enslaved. Because how would it look? You out here chilling, you're free, and you see your brothers and sisters enslaved, and you know they are not Africans. Of course, you're going to tell them. So the colonizers knew that was going to be a problem. So they say, you know what, man, what we going to do? We can't enslave them because they own land. So we're going to give them 30 days to leave their land. and go. Because the 13 colonies, a lot of the colonies that were taking part in the slave trade, there were a lot of other parts of the United States that weren't. And those people were free. I'm talking about free Negroes. They were never enslaved. So word was coming that, hey, you know what? Your brothers and sisters are being enslaved and you're free. So they were going into these enslaved territories, but it was going to be a problem because the colonizers didn't want that. So they say, hey, listen, check this out. It's either we're going to capture you guys or we're going to create something for you so you could go into Africa. And a lot of them took money to go back into Africa. All right, to go into Africa and create a colony. Y'all got to realize what happened. Okay. These groups organized themselves independently of the ACS and founded their own colonies in Liberia for transplanting free African Americans. Some of the volunteers were emancipated only if they agreed to immigrate. You hear that? They were only emancipated only if they agree. So it wasn't by free will. The majority of them were forced. Okay. The Maryland State Colonization Society established the colony in Cape Salmas, Liberia, or Palmas, Liberia. Virginia and Mississippi also established Liberian colonies for the former slave and free blacks. You hear that? Former slaves and free blacks. Why do you think they're distinguishing between both of them? Because not all of us were enslaved. They were free so-called blacks, indigenous people, population, Indians to the land. Okay? See the 10th annual report, African American Perspectives of the American Society for Colonizing the Free People of Color of the United States. You hear that? See the 10th annual report, African American Perspectives of the American Society of Colonization for the Free Peoples of Color of the United States, with an appendix, and named after the state Virginia and Mississippi also founded colonies for former slaves in Liberia. Okay? 1838. The colonies established by the Virginia Colonization Society, the Quaker Young Men's Colonization Society of Pennsylvania, and of course, you know, Quaker Oats, y'all love it, and the American Colonization Society merged as the Commonwealth of Liberia and claimed control over all settlement between Cestus River and Cape Mount. The Commonwealth adopted a new constitution and a newly adopted government in 1839. See African American Mosaic, Liberia. Former Virginian Joseph Jenkins Roberts, America's first look into the camera, a trader and successful military commander, was named the first lieutenant governor and became the first African American governor of the colony after the appointed governor died in office 1842. The Mississippi settlement at the mouth of the Sinua River joined the Commonwealth. 1846. The Commonwealth reserved most of its revenue from the custom duties, which angered the indigenous traders and British merchants on whom they were levied. You hear that? The indigenous traders. So you were not indigenous. It angered them. Okay? It angered them when they sent you to their land. But now they're doing it in a different way. Okay? I'm telling y'all, man. I'm telling y'all, don't fall for this trick. The British government advised Liberian authorities that it did not recognize the right of American Colonization Society, a private organization, to level these taxes. Britain's refusal to recognize Liberian sovereignty convinced many colonies that independence with full taxing authority was necessary for the survival of the colony and its immigrant population. In October, Americo Liberia colonies voted in favor of independence. Brothers and sisters, I did 2 videos, okay, a full-length video on my other channel breaking this down and proving to you again that we were already here. Do not fall for the trick in 2018 moving forward. Why do you think they are pushing this right now? Black Panther, the African diaspora come home, the 2020 census, the real ID. Now in the 2020 census, you have to prove your point of origin. So now for all you niggas who can't prove that you don't know your origin, and you just black or African American, guess what? They have set up the African diaspora movement. Yes, the American Colonization Society is going to take your ass to Africa. Okay? That's what's happening right now. So between now and 2020, or between the next 5 years, a lot of y'all are going to be going back to Africa thinking that's your home, and you're going to be enslaved. Do you see how the African government treat their own people? Do you see how these militias in Africa treat their own people, enslave their own people? They be killing them, raping the women, enslaving the children, selling their organs. Huh? Is that what you want for your children? Because that's what's about to happen. Your ass is about to become slaves once more. Okay? If you think you were a slave. So all I could do is just bring you the truth. At the ending of the day, you do what you feel you want to do with it. Okay, but at the ending of this right now, you would see that I'm going to be sharing 2 videos with you. I'll also put the full video in the link. All right. It's from Advice Show TV, and it's a Dr. Mumbi. It's the Dr. Mumbi show where they are talking about African Union ambassador devised plan for the diaspora to return home. Okay, they are pushing this narrative strong. Another one you're going to see in the link below is African Union announces Wakanda 1, autonomous village for diaspora Africans. Now, let me ask you a question. We are already autonomous in our own land. Why would you want to go fight for autonomy in somebody else's land? Those Africans will stand up and fight against your ass. Believe me, because they know you're not Africans. And here's one more thing before I conclude this video. All right? Here's one more thing before I conclude this video. Ask yourself, if in 1820, okay, they started setting up the African American Colonization Society. In 1820, they started setting up colonies in Africa for so-called free slaves, right? Because they gave us the narrative that we came from slave ships. If slavery was still fresh back then, slavery was still booming back then, and then real Africans on the African continent, they had an opportunity to welcome their brothers and sisters that were taken on boats just a few years earlier to come home. When they were sending them niggas back there, they said, no, they don't belong here. Send them back to America. If slavery was still booming then, okay, and the slave trade was so fresh in their mind, or they took our brothers, we are so hurt, we are so distraught, we are so distraught. And the colonizers are telling you, here's an opportunity to get your brothers, we are sending them back to you. Why didn't they accept you then? When it was so fresh, when slavery was so fresh, okay? It was still booming. They were still taking some Africans, yes, from Africa. But they were sending Americans or Aboriginals to Africa. Why didn't the Africans say, you know what, man, welcome home. We know they just took y'all, but they send y'all back. Welcome home, brothers and sisters. No. Why did they say you wasn't indigenous when slavery was still happening? Why? So why do you think in 2018 they're going to welcome you when they know you're not Africans? Why is that? Brothers and sisters, do not fall for the trick of the devil. All this is a plan to take your birthright. All this is plan of colonization. All this is the plan, okay? All this is a plan. And don't blame this on Caucasians. They're not the ones doing it. Okay? It is your government that's doing it. All right? And who do you think controls the government? The crown. Who do you think is the crown? You think it's Caucasians that's behind the crown? No. Those so-called pale faces, those pale royals. And go to my other channel. I did a video again on that. Breaking it down. Showing you about, the true royal of Britain. Okay, the true monarch of Britain is so-called black people, Moors. They are the ones behind this. Okay, they are the ones behind this. The pale face so-called queens and kings and princes in England right now, in Britain, they are not the real ones. They are a de facto, just like how the US government is a de facto government. The real royals are hiding behind them. They are so-called black. They are Moors. And that's why these Moors are here pushing the narrative that you are Moors, lying to you. Because they want you to give up your land. They want you to give up your birthright. Brothers and sisters, y'all better wake up, man. The ancestors gave it to me too. I'm showing y'all the truth. So don't fall for this. I need to know who's going to stand up and fight with me. Because I can't do this alone. I can't do this alone. Get your affairs in order, man. Get your affairs in order, brothers and sisters. And then they gave you the purge, the first purge of 2018 in the movie. What do you see? They have militias coming in the hood to take us out. But that's not how it's going to be. You see, they're setting you up. Everything is pushing, everything is mental. That's not how it's going to go down. Eventually, they will come with guns. If you don't want to go back to Africa because you say you're African. That's why they have the 2020 census. So when you put African and you cannot say where you're from, they will give you an option. Hey, you know what? You say you're from Africa, you just don't know where. Okay, we found your people for you. So we're going to send you to Africa. If you don't want to go, then they will force you to go. Okay? Another thing they're doing is they also talking about, oh, well, we have to have a common language. So Swahili is going to be the common language that they're going to teach y'all. Okay? They already have this thing planned out. They already have it planned out. So this is just the beginning. You think things are bad right now? Wait till they cut off your food supply. Y'all think it's a game. Y'all want to be in their crowded cities, right? Y'all want to be in their ghettos and their projects, right? And not go back to the land and grow food, right? Okay. Y'all want to continue to support their businesses, right? Y'all want to continue to stay in their churches, right? And serve their gods, right? Huh? Y'all want to continue and to be fooled by these pastors, right? You want to continue being sheep, huh? Continue to be sheep. Your ass will be shipped out if you want to be a sheep. Black Panther, the highest grossed movie. Because they fooled y'all. You see, the romanticizing, the illusion. Let's give it to them. Okay? Roots. Jesse Jackson, African American. Because y'all like distractions. Y'all like entertainment. But anyway, I'm going to put all that information in the link below. For those of you who are ready to step up and get your affairs in order, my email is always in the link below. Correct your political status. We have work to do. My heart is troubled because I could see it. I've seen the vision, okay, of what's going to happen. It's going to be a sad, sad day on our American soil because there's going to be bloodshed because people are lost. They don't know who they are. And here we go again. Slave trade. Another American Indian slave trade is going to be taking place right before your eyes, but it's going to be voluntary. They're going to give you passports, they're going to give you dual citizenship, and they're going to give you some money. Yes, you're going to be all right for the first few months, maybe the first year, but what happens when that money runs out? Do you think the African government is going to take care of your ass? No. The United States are tired of taking care of your ass. They don't want to give you welfare no more. For all you lazy motherfuckers, yes, I'm tight right now. Okay, that want to depend on the government. They don't want to take care of you no more. So they want to send your ass to Africa. You think the African government is going to take care of you? Huh? They're not taking care of their own. You think they're going to take care of your lazy ass? No, they are not. They're going to put you in the fields to work as slaves. Huh? Because they know you're not indigenous to that land. So if y'all think this is a game, if y'all think it's a joke, y'all about to learn. But you can't say Chief Kalinago didn't tell you the truth. You can't say that. You could never say that. Okay? You could never say you didn't know. But like I said, if I'm the only one that's going to stand up and fight, I'm going to stand up right in front of a tank. Go ahead. Go ahead, colonizer. Go ahead, invader. Take me out. But I'm not leaving my land. I know who I am. I'm proud to be an American Aboriginal. I'm proud to be an American Indian. I'm not African. I ain't going a damn place. I don't care how much you pay me. You could pay me $20 million. I'm not going to Africa because it is not worth selling my birthright. It is not worth selling my birthright. And that's what a lot of these people are doing on these so-called conscious communities, the Pan-Africanists, Sineda, all of them. They have sold their birthright for a few pieces of silver. But what they don't realize is this: there is an eternal price to pay. Yes, for selling your people out. Your souls, your spirit, you will pay that price. I guarantee you that, because you're focused on the temporary, materialistic illusion. That's what you're focused on right now. The instant gratification. But your souls, I condemn. Your souls, my ancestors will condemn. And you will experience what it is to be in a true hell. And it's not the kind of hell that you think it is. But the ancestors and the Most High will deal with y'all on loyal asses. So with that being said, all the information is in the link below. Go subscribe to the new channel. I have the 2 videos on there that's talking about the African diaspora, and they're specifically targeting African Americans. Oh, our African American brothers need to come home. How come all this time we were not their brothers and sisters? All this time they looked at us differently. All this time when they were not pushing for us to come home. Why all of a sudden? Why? Because the 2020 census is coming up. Why? Because the Real ID Act is coming up. Why is that? Why is that? Because the Black Panther movie came out, letting y'all think y'all African, giving you the illusion that's what you're gonna get. No. Why do you think all of a sudden Akon is down talking us, degrading us? Why do you think Akon is doing it right now? Because he's part of the plan. Africa's son, that's right, came here, used us, got rich, went back to his land, and now he bad talking us. Y'all better wake the fuck up, man, and see what's going on. Man, I'm so tight right now. But anyway, you know what? I'm playing my part. I'm doing what I was supposed to do. Okay? Peace, love, and light. All the information is below. I'm out, man.